But great, thanks. So Ian, Ian's a great part of the team. And Ian, what was the moment that you remember in setting up the phone network?
The moment I remember setting up the phone network was the first time we got all of the phones connected and to the PBX, and the PBX connected to the network, because just all of a sudden every phone, like 15 phones, just start ringing because all the ringers are on, and it's just a cacophony of sound. Yeah. And I cannot stand. I found that I cannot stand that many rings. It really is not something I can tolerate.
Right. But it was satisfying nonetheless.
Very satisfying, very, very cool, but very quickly got old.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. So first we got 4 simultaneous calls working, and then we upped it to 8, right?
Yeah, so we have these 2, they're called analog telephone adapters. They basically take your modern voice over IP conversation thingy, and they turn it into your old phone line. And so we use 2 of these guys with 4 outputs as our central office lines, you know, like you get from a phone company back in the day, but it's on top of the box. So it does everything the box could do.
So the PBX thought it was just connected to 4 analog lines, 4 independent analog lines from the phone company.
Yes.
But it's not the phone company. It's an Ethernet to analog phone adapter. I'm going to put a plug in for this company. Maybe they can help sponsor us next year. It's called Grandstream, one word. And it's a solid product. So if you've got a rotary phone, take care of it. Get one of these little adapters. It's called an ATA, analog telephone adapter, from Grandstream. And you've already got Ethernet ports on the back of your modem that you're not using because you just set it up with the Wi-Fi and you're done with it. So plug in a little Ethernet cable there, and you've got a phone. And it'll bring such a sense of joy and peace to your life to hear that rotary phone ring. Don't deprive your children and grandchildren of the rotary phone experience. You agree?
I do.
You do.
I'm actually thinking about my 8-year-old who's been asking me for a phone. And this is a good time.
Absolutely. So Grandstream, you're welcome.
Yeah, if I may speak.
Yes.
Okay, so the Grandstream box is one part, and they have very, very cheap, like $30 units that only have 1 phone jack and 1 Ethernet jack, and you just plug them in, and you need a VoIP provider. And there's this great Canadian company, VoIP.ms. For less than $1 a month, you can have an active phone line. Like, it's a cent per minute for every call, and realistically, they're not going to be running out of that.
That is absolutely fantastic. So it's a cent per minute, incoming, outgoing, fantastic. Oh, I keep thinking, what's that noise? And then I remembered, it's a telethon, and I'm talking to you on the machine there, and it's supposed to ring over there. All right, what else do you want to tell us about the creating? Well, I got to tell you the timeline here. So how do you make a telethon? It takes a year to make a telethon. So in September, they started building the telephone network, and then we'll talk about these wonderful lights next. Okay, so oh wow, we had a version 1 idea.
Yeah, we did.
And let's talk about version 1 idea, right? Engineering's all about, okay, well, we tried that.
So our first thought was, let's try and make a phone system entirely ourselves. So let's take a line from the internet and connect it to phones with our own hardware. So in order to do that, you need an analog connection between phones and the outside world. And so in order to do that, you need all the lines to be able to connect to all the other lines. And there's no technology that really can do that better than what's called a crosspoint switch. It's just you cross 2 wires, And at every point they cross, there's a switch. Very simple, very complicated. But there is this device that can do it. It's called the Jumperless. It's a Jumperless breadboard. It's an open source project, and you can program it to do whatever you want, really. And it has analog crosspoints, which is exactly what we needed. So we got one. And then we realized just how difficult it is to make phones ring. And so we spent months trying to get this to work. And we could connect two phones, connect arbitrary number of phones together because it's exactly the technology they used. But the problem was we couldn't get the phones to ring because that's not a signal that can really go on this Jumperless. And we couldn't get any sort of dial tone, ring back, anything that you really expect to hear when you're on the phone. And we realized it's just a huge endeavor to try and make your own, it's called a PBX, private branch exchange. And so we got this old Panasonic box and spent a couple weeks getting it working. We had to downgrade to Windows XP, which was a 3-hour endeavor because we didn't have a flash drive small enough for Windows XP to recognize. And it overall was just a massive rush to get it, the first call on the PBX.
Absolutely. Incredible. Well, we're enjoying it now. And we're going to use this phone network every day, all year, because why not? Make the phones ring, right? They're fun. Ian, thank you so much. Fantastic.